pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, commissioners, we got the minutes from September in front of you. Any additions, deletions, motions?
Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved from September. I'll turn it over to Mr. Spanhauer for announcements and deferrals.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. So our agenda is a little different. We started a month ago with doing consent agenda items first. So first of all zoning cases cannot be on the consent agenda. So all zoning cases will conduct a public hearing today. That's for any zone changes in the city and the county. So those will conduct individual public hearings. If there is somebody here for a particular subdivision or site review that they'd like to have pulled for discussion, could you please raise your hand? Yes, which? Sir, what was the application? Zoning change will conduct a public hearing, so specifically subdivisions and site reviews and the abandonment. Okay, seeing none that wish to be pulled from the consent agenda, all items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the staff of the Regional Planning Commission and may be approved by one motion. However, a member of the audience, commission, or staff may request that an item be removed for separate consideration. Mr. Parker, would you please read the staff recommendations and applications in the consent agenda?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, commissioners, members of the public. Our first case on the consent agenda is case number S25, 2025. The owner is Clarksville Fencing. The request is for preliminary plat approval of North Rossview Commons, lots 1 through 9. Staff recommendation is for deferral. Case number S75, 2025. The owner's Christian Innovative Enterprises. Request is for preliminary plat of Whispering Cedar at Black Oaks. The recommendation from the staff is for deferral. Case number SR 61, 2025, applicant Singletary Construction LLC. The development is Whitfield Center. Staff recommendation is for deferral. Case number SR 64, 2025, applicant is Josh Dennis. The development is called Dennis Concrete, and the staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. Case number SR 66, 2025, applicant is Bill Ballou. The development is Autumnwood East Apartments. Staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. SR 67, 2025, applicant is Bill Mace Development.
Yes, ma'am.
66. Can I speak on that, or does it have to be approved?
It would need to be pulled.
We'll pull it.
We can pull it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll strike SR 66 from the consent agenda. Case number SR 67, 2025. The applicant is Bill Mace Development, Autumnwood Farms Commercial. Staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the conditions listed. Case number SR 74, 2025. The applicant is Lori Smith. This is Ace Hardware Revised is the name of the site, and the staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the conditions listed. Case number SR 75, 2025. The applicant is Providence Builder. The name of the site is Providence Builders Field Office Number 2, and the staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. Case number SR 77, 2025. The applicant is River Investment GP. The development's called the River Club, and the staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. Case number SR 78, 2025. Applicant is CSDG Jeremy Westmoreland. The development's called Sprouts Clarksville. The staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. And the final case on the consent agenda is AB4, 2025. The applicant is Kayla Gunter, and the request is for a partial right-of-way abandonment of Cambridge Road. The staff recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions listed. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. All right, commissioners, you hear the consent agenda? Any discussion?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. All right, we're gonna move into the zoning cases. I want to remind everybody, we're gonna allow 3 speakers to speak in favor, 3 against. Each speaker will get 3 minutes, and there will also be a time for a rebuttal for anyone that would like to reply to anyone speaking against. Also related to this, you know, this body is only passing recommendations on the zoning cases. So if you have any concerns or you want to follow it to the next stage, you would need to go to the city council meeting or the county commission meeting, and those are all listed on today's agenda. If you have any questions on the process after today, please feel free to reach out to the regional planning commission or that local body, the city council or the county commission, okay? And I will turn it over to Mr. Spanhoward for our first zoning case. It's on you.
All right, thank you. So first case on the city zoning tablet today is Z38 2025. It's the application of Legacy Nursery and Landscape GP. It's previously been deferred. We did receive another request for deferral. If there is interest in us going over the staff report again, we will be more than happy to do so, but the staff is agreeable to the request for the deferral, but we do need to open the floor for public comments in case there are any.
Okay, we'll open the floor. Then does anybody would like to speak in favor of Z38 2025? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z38 2025? Hello. All right, we're gonna exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion for deferral.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for deferral and a properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Z38 2025 passes for deferral.
Commissioners, on page 8 of your staff report, you have Z39 2025. It's the application of Chris Doherty. The request is to go from R1 Single Family Residential District and R3 Residential District to R4 Multiple Family Residential District. This is for a parcel fronting on the north frontage of Pollard Road, northwest of the Pollard Road and Quinton Drive intersection. The statement for the request listed by the applicant is to bring the property up to codes and one day further develop. This request does encompass just shy of 3 acres at 2.97. Would not be an extension of the zoning classification. It's an existing tract with multiple residential structures on site and a formal non-conforming body shop facility on site. It is in Lafayette Peters Mill planning area. Previous zoning history was a request to go from R1 to R4 that was ultimately disapproved at that time at council for in 2023. You'll see the department comments that were received in reference to this application. The street department has indicated it's below the threshold of a traffic assessment. Sidewalks would be required and must follow the access ordinance with a potential for 2 driveways. Historical estimates are listed at 34 units. This property would be accessible from Pollard Road. The future land use designation is suburban neighborhood. The staff's recommendation is for approval. The request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The future land use designation for this parcel is suburban neighborhood. This future land use designation indicates that attached housing is appropriate along major transportation corridors. Pollard Road is classified as a collector street and serves as a major transportation route for the area. The proposed R4 multifamily residential district is not out of character with the development pattern along the Peters Mill corridor. You'll see the aerial overview of the property in question, a zoning map overview of the property, future land use designation map, and then a zoomed in aerial of the property in question. And then you do have a public comment that's been received in reference to this application. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
All right, Commissioners, I'll give you a moment to look over that email there related to the rezoning. All right, we'll open up the public hearing now for Z 39-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
My name's Chris Doherty. I'm a partial owner in the property, and this is all just so we can basically pull permits now to update, maybe add a room, a bathroom, which we can't do without going through pretty much meetings like this. I've got people against it. They'll be in the next meeting, but this is not for like, let's bring in bulldozers tomorrow and let's start doing this. We still have family that lives there, and pretty much my neighbors are family, so this is just a step one in a long process, and we're nowhere near ready to start building anything now. This is just brings us up to codes, and I got a little more control over what I can and can't do with the existing buildings. As you know, they've been there for about 45 years, so plenty of work to do. Any questions?
Commissioners? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z 39-2025? All right, seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z 39-2025?
My name is Anthony Wood. I've owned the property next to it for 38 years. I've lived there. I remember Chris, the old fella. But the problem I have there is, we've had the same thing last year, and the county commission told me he could go ahead and the garage down there, convert it over and do whatever he wanted to, and this wasn't going to be brought up again. Now it's been brought up again within a year, so just barely every year. There's no changes. One thing that's happened in the last year, we've had a lot of more accidents on the road. There's not good traffic. They let them put an apartment on the very end of Pollard Road. They ain't even got it built next on the other side of my property with 2 units. And now you can't even hardly get in and out. Every morning now there's a backup because there's cars there, going in and trying to get in and out. But what I'm trying to say, the agreement, I've been there, like I said, 38 years. Me and his grandfather had the agreement. We never built. Mine's already zoned for apartments before I bought it. But what I'm trying to say, the road, we've had people killed on the road in the last year from crazy driving. You call the police department, they try to get out there, and they can't stop it because people doing it 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. But we did have one or two, I don't know if it was 2 kids got killed on that road or just one. But the bottom line is we have a traffic, till they do something with that road, even thinking about apartments, putting more apartments next door to us. I mean, I don't want the apartments, first of all. I didn't buy it for apartments. I bought it, and I'm not putting nothing on my apartment. Like, mine's zoned for apartments, but I've not done it because I agreed to them. Now, his grandmother's still living there. She is in bad shape. The ambulance was there. Ambulance was there a few minutes ago, and they didn't take her with her. Thank God for that. But all I ask y'all, I know y'all have rules and regulations you have to go by, but I do question about. There's a lot of there's stuff on that property that has never been zoned property to be put on that property. They was just put it on there when they wanted to, and that's not the way we do. That's not the way you're supposed to do stuff. He says he's not going to do nothing. So why is he down here today to get it done? If he's going to do it in the future, I'd come back when I was ready to do it. But we don't, if he says today he's not ready to do it, then why is he up here today to get it approved? I'm against it. I hope y'all understand my concern. I've been there 38 years. And I feel like the other gentleman that wrote the letter, he lives right across the street from it. It's going to go right to his front, hit right in front of his house. Mine's next door to it. But I've asked y'all, you're citizens of Montgomery County just like I am. Think about what you're doing. You're putting where he's going to be coming out is right on the crest of a hill there. Not good area there to not even get down on the road. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Would anyone else like to speak against Z 39-2025? All right. Seeing no one, Mr. Doherty, would you like to rebut?
Yes, sir. I keep hearing 38 years, 35 years. Well, if it comes down to that, I come home from the hospital there. That's 45 years. I know it doesn't come down to that. It's just they speak on terms as if we have a drawing that they've seen and they know this is how this goes. I have a TVA right away that goes between me and Mr. Woods. Prime location for the entryway to the complex. We have Quincy Drive at the other corner of my property. Prime location for a four-way stop sign to slow the traffic down. My traffic would come out within 150 yards of a stop sign. My traffic's not gonna be his problem. He's saying these two duplexes are causing a backup. They're not even open yet. They just got painted. We don't have backups. We do have idiot drivers. Everybody here, no matter where they live, has an idiot driver, whether it's a young kid or an old guy drinking. It don't matter where you live. I understand their concerns, but they don't understand that this is gonna be years. We have municipalities that go across our property, east and west, north and south, on top of the ground, under the ground. This isn't an easy case for us. We don't even have the funding. We may be selling it. That just furthers our selling point, is why I'm here today. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're gonna exit public hearing, commissioners.
I make a motion for disapproval of this zoning request based on it not fitting the area and being surrounded by R1. Well, mostly surrounded by R1.
Okay, we have a motion for disapproval.
And I second it.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second for disapproval. Any discussion? Mr. Treatman?
Just to support my motion there, I understand his statement is to currently bring it up to codes, but when making decisions, we have to think the future as well. As he even stated, they may turn around and sell it, which means then it may have nothing to do with what's currently there and who currently lives there. It could be sold and then developed into apartments, which to me doesn't fit the area in any way, and even the historical number would be 34. So to me, that's a drastic jump to go from R1 to R4, even realizing that a very, very small portion of this property is R3.
Any more discussion?
This property meet the criteria to be R4?
Based on our recommendation, yes.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor of disapproval?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Hold on one second.
Okay, so I think it's
Sorry.
four against
Mr.
disapproval.
Chairman, I believe he called for those in favor of the motion. You said nay. So is your intent to vote for the disapproval motion? No. Okay. Can we re-vote and get to
Okay, all those in favor of disapproval?
Aye.
Okay, we had two.
two?
Okay. All those against disapproval? 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, the way this works, when we send recommendations to the city council for the body of consideration, we have to have a reason as to why the recommendation.
I'll make the motion, the request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarkson Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan.
So that's a motion for approval then? Okay, so we got a motion for approval. Second, anyone?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor of approval of Z39-2025?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
So it's reverse of the last vote. One.
Yes. Z39-2025 passes.
Just as a point of clarification for the audience, when we send recommendations to the legislative body, they have to have a reason for the recommendation. When a recommendation or the motion fails, therefore there is not a motion made. So the motion was for in favor, gave a reason, and then they reversed the vote to the same members. So that case will go forward to the Planning Commission with the staff and recommendation from the Planning Commission, both for approval. Next application is Z40 2025, the application of Janet Palmer. The request is to go from R1 Single Family Residential District to O1 Office District. It's for a parcel fronting on the northern frontage of Memorial Drive. The agent for this application is Mr. Richard Garrett. The request does encompass just over half an acre at .53 plus or minus. It would be an extension of the O1 zoning classification, however, it'd be across the right-of-way. It's currently a single-family home site. It is in the Hilldale planning area, and the applicant's statement for proposed use is to convert the existing house to a small real estate office. You'll see the department comments that were received in reference for this application. The street department indicated it would be below the threshold for a traffic assessment. Sidewalks would be required, and they must follow the access ordinance. The impact would be introduction of the office professional uses along the northern block face, which would increase activity levels, including traffic, lighting, and noise. Access would be from Memorial Drive. Future land use designation for this property is suburban neighborhood. The staff is recommending disapproval. This request is inconsistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The O1 Office District request is an intrusion into the northern block frontage of Memorial Drive, an area that remains predominantly single-family residential from West Park Drive and the Fairway Drive intersection, with the exception of multifamily area that was developed in the 1970s. This established pattern reflects the suburban neighborhood land use designation. The adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan's economic goals emphasize oversaturation of commercial development. Given the existing availability of O1 zone properties and more suitable areas identified on the future land use opinion map, this request is not consistent with the plan. Although the overall Memorial Drive corridor contains O1, C1, and C2 zoning, introducing a mid-block commercial use into the single-family block face would disrupt its character and reduce compatibility with surrounding residential development. You will see the zoning map overviews, the aerial overviews on your next 2 pages. Future land use opinion map, current zoning map, and then we have received public comment in reference to this application. You'll see that on the next email. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Commissioners, give you a moment to look over that email. We're going to open up public hearing on Z40 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Richard Garrett, 1488 Collinsview Way. If I may approach, I'd just like to give y'all some information.
Yes, sir, please do.
Richard, will you hand me one of those on the table? Thank you.
All right, so what I passed out was just the floor plan layout and a couple renderings of what the inside and exterior look like. For those that may or may not have had an opportunity to ride by and look at the house, it is a single-family residence that's not in the best of conditions. You've got the roof kind of caving in over the carport and in some other areas, some settling issues. And so, we're planning to come in and kind of do a complete remodel, as you can see from the renderings. As a real estate office, from a traffic standpoint, is typically minimum. We're real estate and property management. The bulk of anybody coming in to visit us is between the 1st and the 5th. Besides that, the occasional rent drop-off, most pay, electronically. few visitors every now and then for the real estate side of things, but we just need to kind of expand our commercial imprint. I know a comment was made about maybe the oversaturation of O1 in office space. I've been looking for about maybe 3 to 5 years now to find some office space to purchase in a reasonable price range. I would welcome any assistance, even though I'm a real estate agent. I've been struggling finding anything in this range. And so this has been, fortunately, the cheapest route I can find is being able to purchase a house completely renovated and gutted, pay more in renovations than I'm paying for the house just to get something reasonable to have an office space. So I just kind of struggle with that particular comment of oversaturation of it when you look at affordable workforce housing available for everyone. And then it's not spot zoning, it's just an extension of basically the zoning classification across the street from it. You've got apartments across the street, you've got other commercial and office space uses, and then further down on that same side of Memorial, you also have several other real estate brokerages that have converted houses into office space. So it's not uncommon for that particular corridor for this to take place. I recognize that maybe in this particular block, nothing has been converted yet, but at some point when we look at the life cycle of a house, one that was built in the, I believe this one was like the 1940s, by the current owner's spouse, there's a lot of issues with it. And the cost to renovate it, to put it back on the market as a regular house, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that was maybe my bail for my time being up. So I appreciate y'all giving me the time to advocate for your recommendation for approval, and I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z40 2025? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z40 2025? Yes, ma'am, come on up.
Good afternoon. My name's Jennifer Rudolph. I'm here speaking as a resident of this area. I live at 313 Hampshire Court. I have been on Memorial or right off of Memorial for 35 years. This stretch of property or street is R1 from West Park all the way to Fairway Drive. And yes, there is commercial across the street, but it's across the street on the other side. It's oversaturation. Traffic on Memorial is horrendous. And I want to ask you for your disapproval on this for the reasons you already stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak against Z40 2025?
Hey, good afternoon. Kyle Gardner. I live at 1990 Craigmont. It's in that general vicinity. I guess my only concern would be is that if we continue to do extensions or say, hey, this meets the extension of an O1 area in that area, then the area continues to grow O1 and then it'll continue to spread and spread and spread. That would be my main concern. So again, like she said, it's primarily residential, single family homes. I would just caution everybody on continuing to extend that area out because then it'll just be out of control. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Got room for one more to speak against Z40 2025. Anyone? Mr. Garrett, would you like to rebut? Okay, we're gonna exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion for disapproval, although the overall Memorial Drive corridor contains O1, C1, and C2 zoning, introducing a mid-block commercial use into the single-family block face would disrupt its character and reduce compatibility with surrounding residential development.
Second.
We have a motion properly made second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Z40 2025 fails.
Commissioners, your next application is Z41 2025. It's the application of Michael T. Booth The agent is Rick Rita. The request is to go from R2 Single Family Residential District to R2A Single Family Residential District. It's for a parcel fronted on the west frontage of Dotsonville Road, approximately 275 feet south of the Airfield Drive and Dotsonville Road intersection. The reason stated by the applicant is to help with the inner city growth, to create more lots for to fulfill needs of the community, and to help the Regional Planning Commission with the growth plan. Again, that's a statement by the applicant. Request encompasses 1.78 plus or minus acres. This would not be an extension of the zoning classification. It's currently a large single-family home site, large lot single-family home site. This was in front of the Planning Commission and the City Council back in 2024, but the request was to go from R2 to R6 single-family zoning classification. Department comments, this property is in the city limits but served by the Woodlawn Utility District. Street Department has indicated it's below the threshold for a traffic assessment. Sidewalks would be required and they must follow the access ordinance. This request would allow for increased single-family residential density. Historic lot yields would be 5 lots. It is in the Woodlawn Dotsonville planning area. The future land use designation for this property is suburban neighborhood. Staff's recommendation is for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. This request represents an incremental change from the existing R2 single-family residential zone, which affords lot widths at 60 feet and 9,000 square feet, to R2A single-family residential zoning at 40 foot with overall square footage of 5,000 square foot. Based on the historical frontage development patterns, this would equate to an increase of 1 additional lot. Dotsonville Road functions as a significant city and county collector road. Shared driveway connections will be encouraged at the development stage. You see 2 aerial photographs for the zone in question. You see the land use opinion map on the next page and the current zoning overview. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, seeing no questions, we'll open up public hearing on Z41 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Hello, my name's Ricky Rita. I'm at 1820 Memorial Circle. I'm just looking for the favor of the vote for this today. If there's any questions, I'm here.
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z41 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z41 2025? All right, we'll exit public hearing. Commissioner?
Request for approval, Mr. Chairman, based on consistent with overall goals and objectives of the Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z41 2025 passes.
Commissioners, your next page of the city zoning report, city staff report is Z42 2025. It's the application of John Mark Holloman. The request encompasses 0.37 plus or minus acres to go from R1 single family to R6 single family residential district. This is for a parcel of land fronting on the northern frontage of Paradise Hill Road, approximately 155 feet east of the Hayden Drive and Paradise Hill Road intersection. It's currently a single family home site. It is in the Hilldale planning area. The applicant's statement for proposed use is to conform with the existing subdivision Charleston Cove. It got left out when we did the original subdivision. Again, those are words of the applicant. Department comments, you will see there the street department has indicated it's below the threshold of for a traffic assessment. Sidewalks are required and they must also follow the city's access ordinance. The impact would be increased single-family residential density. Again, it's currently accessible from Paradise Hill Road. It is in the Hilldale planning area, and the future land use opinion map indicates the future land use designation is urban neighborhood. Staff has recommended approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed R6 single-family residential request is a logical extension of the existing R6 zone and aligns with the urban neighborhood future land use designation. Paradise Hill Road functions as a city collector street, shared driveway connections, or alternative access means such as a rear-loaded alley would be encouraged for this development stage. You have two aerial photographs of the property in question. The second one, I think you got a better view there of Charleston Cove. That is a subdivision that's currently under development. This would be an extension of that zoning classification. Future land use map shows the urban neighborhood designation and then the current zoning map. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, seeing no questions, we'll go ahead and open up public hearing on Z42 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z42 2025? All right, we're going to exit public hearing, commissioners.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, based on the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville Montgomery County Comprehension Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Z42 2025 passes.
All right, your next application is Z43 2025. It's the application of Sean Robertson. The agent is Paul Kruckenberg. The request is for agricultural zoning to go to R5 residential district. This request encompasses just over 5 acres at 5.12 plus or minus. This would not be an extension of the zoning classification. It's currently a parcel of land fronting on the northern frontage of Meriwether Road, approximately 1,400 feet east of the Trenton Road and Meriwether Road intersection. It's currently a large single-family residential tract with a home and associated outbuildings on site. It is in the North Clarksville planning area. The applicant's statement for their proposed use or proposed zone change is highest and best use to match similar residential density in surrounding neighborhoods, looking to utilize R5 to build a single-family community. Again, those are the words of the applicant. Department comments, you will see gas and water is indicated an off-site gravity sewer main extension would be required. The street department has required a traffic assessment. It was received. There was no significant impacts, estimated at 35 peak hours. Trips, level of service B, 5 acres. For the request, sidewalks would be required and they must follow the access ordinance with a note of 1 driveway. You do have school system comments relative to the parent responsibility zone in the Northeast School Campus, in addition to pedestrian and biker traffic and the Clarksville Police Department referencing crossing guards. The proposed use would permit increased residential density, accessible from Meriwether Road. Historical estimates for a development of this type are 61 units per the historic yield. The applicant has stated that they plan to do 34 units. You do have a plan detail that they have shown under the public comment section that you're welcome to refer to. Planted area, again, North Clarksville. Future land use designation is suburban neighborhood. The staff has recommended disapproval. This request is not consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. While this request presents an infill opportunity in proximity to a multi-school campus of Clarksville Montgomery County School System, the proposal is currently inconsistent with the established block face development pattern for this area of Meriwether. And this proposal appears premature given the current capacity limitations in this area of the Trenton Road corridor. You do have 2 aerial photographs showing the property in question. They're crosshatched. The future land use opinion map is the next one, and then the current zoning map. Page 47 of the staff report starts the public comment phase. The first is the detail that was referenced in the survey that was provided by the applicant, and then there is a series of emails that were received from the general public. I believe they take you from page 47 to 68. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, Commissioner, several emails in there. I'll give you a little bit to look over those. All right, I'm going to open up the public hearing here. Z43, 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
How's everyone doing today? I'm Paul Krugerberg, 2540 Gun Road. Despite the RPC's opinion on this project, we actually think that we have found a perfect balance in this rezoning from ag to R5. Meriwether Road is quite the time capsule in development history in Clarksville, Tennessee. Northeast High School opened 45 years ago. And the middle school opened 35 years ago. So the current design of this site with R5 zoning threads the needle and is a great compromise for all the competing desires of the city, school system, and the people on Meriwether Road. We're asking for R5 zoning to build an efficient and accessible single-family community, not R4, which would allow 80-plus apartment units. From a mindful developer's perspective, this property is a perfect infill project in the urban growth area. It's literally right across the street from Northeast High School and has existing mature tree lines to buffer neighbors, a great traffic study report, and accessible utilities. Parents would only have a 10-second commute to and from Northeast schools. It also creates a fantastic opportunity for connectivity and walkability in the future. A minute drive to school, minutes to food and entertainment, minutes to the interstate, minutes to the new HCA hospital, and the new Life Point Church campus. In my opinion, none of these awesome community amenities are currently safely walkable, nor are they connected via sidewalk with the vast majority of residential neighborhoods in this area. As you look at our positive traffic study, the future widening of Trenton Road by TDOT, which TDOT had a meeting with the community in July about the widening, and the opportunity for incremental progress on the sidewalk issue, I'd ask that you allow this rezoning and not turn it down based upon a project that isn't possible for a private developer to accomplish. So we have to be okay with incremental sidewalk progress through property turnover, or we'll never reach our walkability goals as a city and community. Let me reiterate, this site design threads the needle for all shareholders on Meriwether. R5 zoning is being requested, only 34 residences, not 80 plus. We had positive findings on the traffic study and sidewalks across the front of our site only. It prepares the road for future walkability of the neighborhood when more homes fall into disrepair and are redeveloped. And also, I'm biased, but it would provide a brand new, beautiful Krugerberg community for this neighborhood to enjoy for the next 50 or 100 years or so. Any questions?
Commissioners?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z43 2025? All right, would anyone like to speak against Z43 2025? Come on up.
Good afternoon. I'm William Drexel. I live at 966 Culverson Court in Clarksville. I'm here with a group of our residents from the HOA Greenbrier. We have some concerns about this development. One is, of course, the driveway entrance coming into the site from Meriwether. What happens to that street? And then also how many homes are being built there. It's a 5-acre lot, approximately. How many homes are going to be built there, and what the homes are like, whether they're regular single-family homes or if they're duplexes, townhouses. The surrounding area is made up of single-family homes, and they're not townhouses or duplexes or anything like that. So we don't have a lot of information on that. And then also if they were going to allow condominiums or apartments, or if there's restrictions on the deeds for, say, over 55 age housing, or that the houses are actually owned and not rented. We have a problem with that where we are. The traffic that is gonna be generated here, especially with Merriweather, was mentioned about the TDOT project widening Merriweather Road. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but in the meantime, we're gonna have a problem there with the traffic. And again, this doesn't match with the surrounding neighborhoods, unless it's like single-family homes. And how many single-family homes can you get in a 5-acre lot? The sidewalks, no shoulder. It sounds like what's happening here is that there's going to be like a common driveway put in as opposed to a road. And that the road will be owned by the property, it won't be turned over to the city for maintenance and things like that. So the density is I think is too much. We think it's too much for that lot and that area, and it should not be, this proposal should not be approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Z43 2025, would anyone like to speak against?
All right. Good afternoon, council members, representatives. My name is Michael Dotson, and I live at 1109 Merriweather Road. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today regarding the proposed rezoning of 1095 Merriweather Road from agricultural to R5 medium high density residential. I stand before you to respectfully request that this rezoning be disapproved, that is inconsistent with the character and nature of the existing residences along Merriweather Road and poses serious concerns for safety, flooding, and infrastructure in our community. Flooding and drainage concerns. The most critical issue affecting our area is severe flooding, which has emerged in this just past year. In April of 2025, homes along Glenhurst Way, which up on the TV you can see is directly behind this property. It kind of curves from down to the right. Located right behind this 1095 Merriweather Road, experienced major flooding and property damage following the recent commercial development boom on Trenton Road. Several new commercial properties, including churches and small businesses, now direct their stormwater drainage toward the Merriweather Farms Basin, which is at the entrance of that road. This redirected runoff overwhelms the drainage system, causing water to back up into the residential yards and homes. The proposed development at 1095 Merriweather Road includes a retention pond positioned uphill from these flood-affected homes, which will likely worsen downstream flooding unless extensive hydrologic studies and mitigation measures are completed. Flooding also has become a recurring problem along Merriweather Road itself, behind 1045 Merriweather Road, which is 2 doors down to the right, and in front of my property and the one to the next to me, 1117 Merriweather Road. During heavy rains, water collects within 100 feet of homes, forming large ponds that spill across driveways and ditches. These conditions already strain existing infrastructure. Adding 34 new homes and impervious services will only make it worse. Educational impact. This proposed development falls within the Northeast School District, which is already operating near capacity. Northeast Elementary is at 94% capacity with 8 portable classrooms. The middle school is at 90% capacity, and the high school is at 80%. Adding more families and students from this development will further overcrowd classrooms, stretch transportation routes, and increase safety concerns around school zones that are already congested. Traffic and safety enforcement. Traffic on Merriweather Road continues to worsen. The developer's traffic study, not so good, was conducted for only 3 hours on a single weekday afternoon, failing to reflect real conditions during school hours, weekends, or when Meriwether becomes an I-24 detour events. When I-24 accidents occur, detour routes and interstate traffic directly through Meriwether Road and Glenhurst Way, compounding congestion and increasing accident risk. Additionally, there is poor traffic enforcement and no crossing guard currently assigned for the students walking along Meriwether Road, many of whom lost school bus access this year. The absence of safety oversight for these children is unacceptable, especially as development density increases.
To wrap it up.
Alrighty. Wrap it up is I thank you for your time, and I recommend for disapproval. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, one more for against, if anyone would like to speak.
Yes, Mary Spillers for Culverson Court. The parcel in question should remain agricultural rather than being rezoned as residential for many reasons. Number one, development would further congest traffic at the three schools mentioned, Northeast High, Northeast Middle, and Northeast Elementary, and cause dangerous merging onto Meriwether Road. Number two, before more development is even considered, both Meriwether and Trenton, both currently 2-lane roads, need to be widened and traffic lights need to be installed. Sometimes the only way to travel from Meriwether to Trenton is for other drivers to stop traffic and let out motorists. Traffic at that intersection backs up for miles regularly. Number three, flooding can result from overdevelopment of land, as it did in the Farmington neighborhood off Exit 8 in April of this year. Number four, nearby property lines in Meriwether Farms and Greenbrier Estates are actively being disputed, and this issue needs to be resolved before any decision is made. Number five, the impact on the water table, any wetlands, utilities, drainage, etc., need to be thoroughly analyzed. In conclusion, proper planning involves growing responsibly, ensuring the infrastructure is present prior to more development, and realizing that not every parcel of land in Clarksville needs to be developed. Green space is essential, especially for flood prevention. Lastly, no decision should be made until active property line disputes are resolved. Therefore, the parcel under review should either remain as is, zoned as agricultural. Thank you for your disapproval of this zoning change request.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Krukenberg, would you like to rebut?
I don't really have a huge disagreement with any of these people that have come before us in terms of traffic. I have that same opinion about almost every road in Clarksville now. So that being said, we're going to go with our engineers on this that are doing the traffic studies. Same thing goes with the retention area in the back. I think that we have actually it's a little bit larger than it has to be according to the engineering, and I'm going to trust my engineers on that as well. So thank you very much. Any more questions?
Any questions? No. Thank you. All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
we heard Trenton Road mentioned on both sides. Would it be possible for the street department maybe to come up and give a quick update on Trenton Road?
Yeah, let's do that. Mr. Cowan around here? There he is.
Can I expand on that too?
Yes, sir.
Meriwether is a B. What is Trenton?
F.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the TDOT project is many years away. They're in process of their design. They're acquiring right-of-way. I think their current plan for that is the earliest they could go to bid for construction would be 2030. But I've seen TDOT projects, they never hit their deadline. So that's could very well proceed on even further than that. And I think the other issue with that, it's going to take time for And when I say 2030, that's just to get to construction. Then to actually do the construction, you're looking at several more years well after that. So it's a ways off before that resolution, which includes a traffic signal, which we've asked for on that roadway, sidewalks along Trenton Road. And we've encouraged TDOT to bring this along as fast as they can. But they have their process they go through, and it just takes time.
Chris, would you say that Meriwether is a B because of how hard it is to get from Meriwether to Trenton? Or is it the amount of cars that are on it?
It's just the amount of cars that are on
Okay.
that. That's how they calculate that.
Okay.
And when we do that, those types of assessments, we're looking for what sort of improvements might the traffic that is being generated by that development, we need to offset because they're causing a problem. The problem that's on Trenton Road is really not caused or really impacted much by this development specifically, only the traffic that's already there. And that may be more than what it could handle, but that's up for y'all to decide.
All right, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, commissioners.
Make a motion for disapproval. The proposal appears premature given the current capacity limitations in the area of the Trenton Road corridor.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a properly made second for disapproval. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of disapproval?
Aye.
Any opposed? One opposed. Z43 2025 fails.
Mr. Chairman, there was a lot of people here for that case. We'll take a brief second. If there's anyone, I know there was a lot of people here for that case. You're welcome to stay for all of them. But if anyone wanted to take an opportunity to leave, they're welcome to do so. I know we've got some people standing in the back of the room that may appreciate the opportunity for the chair.
Yes, sir.
Told you there's a lot of people. Sorry, we'll just have to get them reeled back into.
Good call on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
I asked people ahead of time what they were here for because I wanted to go ahead and pre-pull things that I knew needed to be pulled. So everybody said they were there for that. Okay.
Let them know we're gonna get back started.
Okay, we'll get back to our agenda. Our next step. Would you mind closing that door on the way out, please? Thank you so much. Our next application is Z46 2025, the application of William Page. The request is to go from, excuse me. I kept notes over top of the other one. The next application is Z45 2025, the application of Faith Investments request to go from M2 General Industrial District to C2 General Commercial District. And this is for a parcel of land fronting on the southern frontage of College Street, approximately 210 feet northeast of the Hornberger Lane and College Street intersection. The applicant's statement for the proposed use is the uses in the area over the years have transitioned to more of a commercial area. Again, that's the applicant's statement. It's currently a former warehouse facility that has multiple commercial uses through the years, ranging from a flea market, retail use, and bakery, etc. It is in the downtown urban core planning area. Department comments were received. Traffic study was required and received. No significant impact with a level of service A. It encompasses 1.3 acres. Sidewalks would be required, and they must follow the access ordinance, which would be one driveway. Impact would be increase of commercial development opportunities to include mixed use, and it also removes the potential of industrial uses from this property as it's currently zoned M2 General Industrial District. It is in the downtown urban core planning area. The future land use designation map indicates the property should be mixed use. The staff is recommending approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed C2 General Commercial District aligns with the future land use designation and mixed use. and removes the heavy industrial potential permitted in the M2 General Industrial Zoning District. The proposed C2 General Commercial District would remove the existing legal nonconforming status of several established businesses on site, while introducing a more compatible zoning classification that aligns with the character of College Street corridor and the downtown urban planning area. Next two slides, you'll see the aerial overview of the property in question, the future land use designation map, and the current zoning districts map. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Thank you. We're going to open up public hearing on this. Z45 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Hi there, I'm Jamie Wallace, 724 Salem Ridge Road. I'm here to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for him? Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z45 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z45 2025? All right, exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Make a motion for approval based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay. Z45 2025 passes.
All right, Commissioners, now Z46 2025, the application of William Page. The agent is Sean Berner. This request is to go from R4 multifamily residential district to C5 highway and arterial commercial district. It does encompass just over 2 acres at 2.13 plus or minus. It would be an extension of the C5 zoning classification. It's a parcel of land fronted on the northern frontage of the 41A bypass, approximately 1,100 square feet, but 1,100 plus or minus feet east of the Chesterfield Drive and Highway 41A bypass intersection. Currently on site, it is appears to be a former single-family home that had some units added to it and became multifamily over the years. Department comments have indicated that a sewer main extension would be required. Traffic assessment was required and received a level of service B with no significant impact, a total of 92 peak hour trips. The request encompasses 2 acres. Sidewalks would be required. They must follow the access ordinance, which would permit 1 driveway. C5 zoning designation is intended to support a diverse mix of auto-oriented commercial uses and services with potential increases in traffic, light, and noise. That would be the impact. Accessible from Ashland City Road, which is also known as the Highway 41A bypass. This is in the Hilldale planning area. The future land use designation map indicates the property should be corridor commercial. Staff is recommending approval. It's consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The parcel is designated corridor commercial on the future land use opinion map, and the requested C5 highway and arterial commercial district aligns with this designation. The proposed C5 highway and arterial commercial district is also consistent with the established development pattern of the 41A bypass corridor. You do have the 2 aerial maps there for this application, the future land use designation map, and then the current zoning map for the area. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Commissioners, any questions? Okay. We'll open up public hearing on Z46 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
I'm Sean Berner, 2388 Lucy Court. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z46 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z46 2025? All right, we'll exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, based on overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehension Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z46 2025 passes.
All right, Z47 2025 is the application of Michael Burkhart. The agent is Bethany Obendorfer. This request encompasses .62 plus or minus acres, presently zoned R4 multifamily residential district, proposed to go to C2 general commercial district. This would be an extension of the existing C2 zoning classification, and the location is a parcel of land fronting on the northern frontage of Madison Street, located center block between South 10th Street and South 11th Street. Description of the property is a former residential home that has been converted to a commercial use. This is in the downtown urban core planning area. Please forgive me, I did skip this, but the applicant's statement for the proposed use is for Tiny Mother's General Store. It's a retail-based year-round farmers market designed to benefit the local community farmers and business owners by helping alleviate the areas of food desert. It is also located beside the C2 area. And again, that's the applicant's statement for proposed use. Department comments. The street department has indicated it's below the threshold for a traffic assessment. Sidewalks would be required, but they do exist, and it must follow the access ordinance, which is one driveway. The police department also asked a question about the parking and referenced some congestion that does occur in the area. We did answer that question for the police department. There's currently a shared driveway arrangement. You'll see more on the aerial overview, and the parking is to the side and rear of the property currently. Another key component of this request, this is in the Historic Zoning Commission historic overlay. That will remain on this parcel. This was also presented to the Historic Zoning Commission yesterday, and the commission provided no formal comment. The impact would increase commercial opportunities and also permit multifamily residential. Again, it's accessible from Madison Street. If it were to develop as multifamily, historically, it would be 7 units. Downtown planning area would be the downtown, or the planning area is the downtown urban core. The future land use designation from the land use opinion map is urban core, and the staff is recommending approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. This parcel is designated urban core on the adopted future land use opinion map, and the requested C2 general commercial district aligns with this designation. The current structure is operated as a bookkeeping office and more recently as a school academy. And a homeschool academy, and the owner is now seeking the C2 General Commercial District classification to allow the continued commercial use of the site through adaptive reuse, which is recommended in the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan, and it's specifically mentioned in the urban core designation, and that's in reference to adaptive reuse. This parcel is currently encompassed in the H1 historic overlay and will remain as part of the historic overlay as part of this application. I do know in the informal meeting that there was a question about historic zoning, and we've had several questions reference historic zoning over the past few days. The zoning classification, if it were to change, the overlay would remain in place, and if someone were to attempt to go through a demolition application or change of the exterior look, the Historic Zoning Commission would be obligated to hear and decide that case. Next 2 slides are the aerial overviews of the question in reference to this property. You heard me reference the parking earlier. It shows up better on that second slide there. Then you have the future land use designation map, and then you have the current zoning classifications for the area. And if it's important to you as far as how this relates to the Historic Zoning Commission, the last aerial photograph, the shaded portion is the H1 overlay. As far as public comments, the Tiny Mother's General Store title, the applicant has provided a detail of what that encompasses and their comments as part of the public comment section, and then a detailed letter. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Commissioners, give you a moment to look over those attachments there. Commissioners, any questions before I open it up? All right. We're gonna open up public hearing on Z47 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Thank you for allowing me to present my request for a zoning change on this. My name's Mike Burkhardt. John, you stole my thunder. I don't know what else to say. You said it all. Just a brief history on the property. It was built in 1945 as a residence, and the Burkhardt family acquired the property in 1979, and we acquired it to put a bookkeeping service in there, and the business fortunately grew over years, and by 1985 we were able to purchase the property next door, and at that time this property became 1015 became a rental, and my dad and I have been very good stewards of the property over the years, and took great pains to maintain the historical value of the property, and that is absolutely my intention as long as I have a heartbeat. I think a little bit of the concern may be that in the future it may change, and I think we have resolved any concerns about that before the property can just be leveled, there'll be some pushback from the H1 classification. I entered a lease agreement with Miss Betty Opendorfer, probably about 3 months ago, because I did like her business model. She has intestinal fortitude. She brings to the table a good business, I think, for this property. Because of the commercial nature, it required that the R4 zoning be changed to, I think, O2, I believe.
C2.
C2, I'm sorry, C2. However, I have no intentions of taking this property down. And over the years, as I've received rental income from it, I've infused money back into the property to maintain its integrity, as you do with any older property. And so, again, that is my request, is that we can zone it C2 and let it continue to add to that community. And I got total confidence in Ms. Obendorfer, and I'll be there to make sure she does what she's supposed to do. Thank you for your, any questions? There is a side entrance, there is an entrance off of Madison Street. I did want to mention that. And there's an exit on 11th Street. So we use it ourselves during peak drive times, traffic times. And it's, when you enter 11th Street and head north, there's 2 or 3 exit strategies there to avoid the congestion on Madison Street. Any questions that you all may have? Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z47 2025?
Hi, my name is Bethany Obendorfer. I'm located at 1656 Eastern Hills Drive. This is my business model. I've been a Clarksville resident for about 13 years now. I'm actually catering to a community that welcomed me whenever I moved in, and there's always been almost a lack of the full servitude of what it could offer. So I've spent the last bit developing a plan that can service the community, the local families that are there, address the lack of food accessibility. It's 6 minutes from the college. It's a walk to downtown. We're encouraging the bus system as a whole. Bus stop 5 literally lands in our yard. I've actually always been in a business of preservation. So the reason I was excited to take this on is because the building was hideous, in my opinion. Should not be butter yellow. We have better historical colors. So right immediately I can actually put it back to closer, given that there's vinyl, put it back closer to fitting that exterior. Again, I'm located next to the Hair Mart. I feel as though anything I do with historical approval is gonna only preserve what Clarksville's already trying to do. And I'm available for any questions. I have a very long PowerPoint. It's pretty thorough.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z47 2025?
Hi, my name's Jennifer Rudolph. I'm speaking actually neutral on this, if I may, because I find myself in a very difficult situation. I'm the president of Montgomery County Preservation Coalition. We are a newly formed 501c3 organization for the purpose of preserving historic properties. I'm in favor of this business. I'm absolutely in favor of it because what she is doing is she is taking a historic home and an H1 overlay and she's giving it readaptive use. And a lot of times we end up losing our historic homes because people don't have the money to fix them up and use them as a residence. So what Miss Betty is planning on doing as a business is fantastic. It keeps the home. Not only on the exterior is she going through great care of what it looks like, she's also gone inside to the home and she's putting it back to its original state where it had been converted to an office. I don't want to say I'm against this project, but what I would like to say is it's hard to look at an H1 overlay that we want to protect with all possible measures and put a C2 in it. It opens up the potential of down the road of someone else being in an H1 saying, I want a commercial, or I want to do something like that, and they don't have as good intentions as Mr. Burkhart and Miss Betty have. Unfortunately, there's no other way to go about it. She doesn't have a choice but to go C2, and that's scary in a historic district. But I do approve of what she's doing. I just hope that in the future, someone will remember that a person in the right area of an H1 doing this and taking care of the property is okay, but we never know what the intentions are going to be for another person. But again, she had no other options. We spent a lot of time talking to Mr. Spain-Howard, talking to Mr. Crosby at Building and Codes, and if there were another option, we certainly would have gone there. But they're not going to allow her to sell anything without a zone change. Kind of a tricky situation, but just wanted to state that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, would anyone like to speak against Z47 2025?
Good afternoon. My name is Don Sharp. I live at 607 North 2nd Street and one of Clarksville's 5 H1 overlay districts. I've been for over 30 years an advocate for the historic nature of Clarksville. And in doing so, I have used this document right here, 9.3, which was established in the early 80s. It's the language that governs anything that happens. Now, I think it's a little bit interesting. Of course, Jennifer and I are cohorts in the Preservation Coalition. But I think it's such a bad precedent if you allow zone changes within existing H1 districts. It could be, what's next? What are you going to do next? And keep in mind that there is a rewrite that had the City Planning Commission got a grant for a rewrite on the language that governs everything that goes on in the H1 districts. I don't know if it's come before the Planning Commission or before the City Council, but it's still in progress. I think it's a little premature to make a decision on allowing zone changes in these significant districts. And with all respect to Mr. Spain-Howard on the comprehensive plan, I went to virtually every meeting on the comprehensive plan. When the draft was brought forth, I went to that. and I have a copy of it. And I don't think there's anything in the comprehensive plan that insinuates that we should, within the H1 districts, allow commercial zone changes. So anyways, I'm against this. Anyone have any questions? Pardon my appearance. My wife said I had to work on my 1859 house today, and as soon as I get home, I have to proceed. That's why I'm wearing this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak against Z47 2025? Would any of those in favor like to rebut the previous comments?
If the concern is, do I have to restate my name and all that stuff again? Okay. If the concern is a tear down of any sort and making it more modern or removing the historical preservation side of it, that cannot be done without the H1 removal, which would never be sought in the first place. If he wanted to tear it down right now and put up 16 apartments, he could. At the current designation, but none of us want that. And as full transparency, I have first right of refusal to purchase the building. I'm very informed on land estates, as I'm a 6th generation of a deed restriction. So I'm also aware that if it comes into my possession, I can lock it down for 6 generations. Past 6 generations, I do not care. I'm gonna do everything in my power to actually exceed the standard, because that's how I like to operate. And pardon my appearance, I thought I was gonna be painting, and I never had an idea that I would be coming and having to speak for this, so therefore I shaved my head preemptively. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. All right, we're going to exit public hearing now. Commissioners.
I make a motion for approval based on the recommendation being consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any discussion? Seeing no one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z47 2025 passes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is a little unique to the situation, but Mr. Sharp, Ms. Rudolph, thank you for being here today. I do want to use this as a brief update of where we're at on the zoning rewrite. So we have received information from our consultant, and we've reviewed the things that they've mentioned today do have value. We've heard that from multiple different levels, our consultant, our staff. When we rewrite the zoning code and we start determining which uses can go in which types of classifications, some of their concerns could be addressed through that process. We're aware of that. I know a lot of the auto-oriented uses bring concern in the C2 district. That is something we're already aware of. And just as a simple update, C1 starts as more of a neighborhood zone, and then it would incrementally increase to more auto-oriented uses as you get to C4 and C5. So we're aware of your concern. We're going to do our best to update the regulations in that fashion. But as I can tell you, there are lots of different opinions on what those regulations should be. So we're operating under the rules that are currently in place. And as we change the rules, most people show up to oppose them as opposed to show up to support the changes that are made. So understand that today when we're taking these actions, they're based on the current regulations. There's always an opportunity for those regulations to improve. But understand we have to operate what's currently in place. And as we make suggestions to our legislative bodies to induce these types of changes that you're asking for, the support does help. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Spangler.
Thank you. Commissioners, you do have one more city zoning case. We are recommending a deferral for this. I don't suggest we open the floor for public comment because we have established a date to remind everyone for November 13th at 4:30 p.m. to go over the electronic message centers. So we are recommending a deferral of that application for that public comment period, and the invitations have been sent out. So if you do have any questions or comment, but we do need a motion to defer that action.
I make a motion for deferral until the next meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second to defer to the next meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, deferral passes for Z04A 2024.
Again, the November 13th at 4:30, if that's something you feel strongly about, that'll be the time to have that conversation. And we have sent out invitations. So if you haven't got yours, let us know. We'll make sure you get it. That concludes all of the city zoning. So if you'll please change to your county zoning tab. You'll start with CZ 16-2025, the owner application of Thong Pham. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. The agent is Jacqueline Harker. The request encompasses 1.38 acres, presently zoned R1, requested to go to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. And this is on the 41A northern frontage, approximately 1,200 feet west of the McAdoo Creek and Highway 41A South intersection. It's currently an existing residential home site. It is in the urban growth boundary of the city and the Sango planning area. The applicant has stated their purpose for this request is for future development of the property to serve a better use as adjacent properties are multifamily and C5 property currently has a rundown dwelling and serves no purpose. Again, that is the comments from the applicant. Department comments. You will see there on the staff report. Do not believe there were any of any concern. Impact would be the proposed C5 zoning designation is intended to support a diverse mix of auto-oriented commercial uses and services with potential increases in traffic, light, and noise. City water, city sewer, and access to Highway 41 for infrastructure. Again, it is in the Sango planning area. The future land use designation for this property is mixed residential neighborhood. The staff is recommending disapproval. This request is not consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District does not align with the adopted future land use designation of mixed residential neighborhood. The adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan, along with the Sango Planning Area General Recommendations, emphasize the need to limit the oversaturation of strip commercial development. The Sango Planning Area appears to currently have a surplus of vacant commercially zoned properties, along with the 41A corridor and areas better suited for commercial development. You do see the aerial overviews of these two requests, this request with the two maps, the future land use opinion map designation, and then the current zoning designation for the area. If you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them for you.
Commissioners. All right, we'll open up public hearing then on CZ 16-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Hello, I am Jackie Harker, 205 Turnberry Circle, and I am the agent for these clients. As it was stated, from what I understand, the mixed use is incorrect. It is not large enough, the parcel, to have that. It should just be a normal standalone property. Currently, it is a tear down. It's a 1948 home that has been a tear down for many, many years. They purchased the property trying to rehab it, but getting into it, it was just too much. So what they wanted to do was tear down the property, but also change it into a C5, where it was just a standalone building, not a strip mall, not anything to congest the area as it is. Next door is multifamily, and the next properties on both sides are commercial as well. So we seemed for the best fit to be that way, since that is what's there originally, but it seems as though the recommendations are not for that, so it's a little bit confusing. Is there any questions that I could answer?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of CZ 16-2025? Would anyone like to speak against CZ 16-2025? All right, we'll exit public hearing. Commissioners?
I make a motion for approval based on the majority of the corridor already being commercial and feeling as though it fits the area that it is lined up with the exception of the small amount right there beside it.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. Any discussion?
It is an arterial highway.
I'd agree
Matches
with
what C5 is looking for.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. CZ 16-2025 passes.
All right, Commissioners, that takes you to CZ 17-2025. It's the application of Bryce Powers. The applicant is Laura Richardson. This request encompasses 1 acres, presently zoned agricultural district, proposed to go to E1 Single Family Estate District. This is for a parcel fronted on the northern frontage of Charles Holt Road, approximately 485 feet north of the Charles Springs Road and Charles Holt Road intersection. It's currently a single-family home site, or a residential lot, and they plan to bring the existing lot into conformance with zoning. The lot in its configuration has existed since 1976. There were no department comments of any concern. It would be served by sewer and access to Charles Holt Road. Future land use designation is rural reserve. It is in the Fredonia and Adams planning area, and the staff is recommending approval. It's consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The requested E1 Estate District aligns with the Rural Reserve Future Land Use Designation, as this request is also it's near existing established area of residential development. This request brings an existing non-conforming parcel into conformance with the current county zoning resolution. If I didn't already mention it, this would just afford them the opportunity to pull 1 single-family building permit. You do have the aerial overviews and the future land use map and the current zoning map. They're available to review if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
All right, seeing no questions from the commissioners, I'm going to open up public hearing on CZ 17-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Good afternoon, Bryce Powers. I think we had that backwards. Ms. Richardson's the applicant, I'm the agent. She works on my team, is kind of uncomfortable speaking at events like this. She bought this property, I think maybe a year and a half ago. It kind of wasn't disclosed that it was a non-conforming lot, and so she's just trying to pull a building permit to put her residence on it. It's exactly 1 acre, so this E1 solves that problem. I think it was been in this configuration since 1976. I think 73 would have given her the grandfathering, but she kind of missed that by a little bit. So that's why we're asking for this rezoning. Any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of CZ 17-2025? Okay, would anyone like to speak against? We're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Make a motion for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
We have a motion properly made second. No one looking to speak. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. CZ 17-2025 passes.
Commissioners, your next one, CZ 18-2025, is the application of Thomas B. Black, requested to go from agricultural district to E1 single family estate district. This request encompasses 1.25 plus or minus acres. Currently land fronting on the eastern frontage of Vernon Creek Road, approximately 400 feet north of the Vernon Creek Road and Highway 13 intersection. Again, a vacant lot in the rural area of Cumberland South River planning area. The applicant's statement is to rezone to comply with building a single-family home and garage on site. There were no department comments of any concern. It would be served by septic, access to Vernon Creek Road. Historically, would accommodate 1 lot. That's what they're trying to accomplish, is 1 lot for a building permit. Cumberland River South planning area, future land use designation of rural reserve. The staff is recommending approval. It is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The requested E1 Estate District aligns with the Rural Reserve Future Land Use Designation, and this request is near established area of residential development. This request brings in an existing non-conforming parcel into conformance with the current county zoning resolution. And bless you.
Thank you.
See the aerial overviews, the future land use designation, and the current zoning map for the area. We did have a few phone calls in reference to this, but once individuals were aware of what was taking place, they did not express any concern. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, we'll open up public hearing on CZ 18-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against? All right, we'll exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion to approve. This request brings an existing non-conforming parcel into conformance with the current county zoning resolution.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? CZ 18-2025 passes.
Only two more zoning cases, guys. Stick with me. CZ 19-2025 is the application of DRG Family Partnership. It's requested to go from agricultural district to C5 highway and arterial commercial district and R4 multiple family residential district. It would be an extension for the C5 portion across the highway, and it's a parcel of land fronting on the southeast frontage of McAdoo Creek and Highway 41A South intersection. It's a tract of land, former ironworks business structure. Does have areas of trees and undergrowth. The applicant's statement for this proposed request is the use of property as a commercial endeavor along the Highway 41A as an extension of the existing C5 and R4 multifamily at the rear of the lot fronting on McAdoo Creek Road only. Sango planning area, it is in the UGB of the growth plan. Department comments that were received, there's no currently gravity sewer available. A traffic assessment would be required, and I'll reference more on that in just a moment. And then you do have some school system comments related to the East Montgomery school campus there. Property would be accessible from Highway 41A and McAdoo Creek Road. Again, it is in the Sango planning area. Future land use designation is neighborhood commercial. The staff has recommended a 1-month deferral. We are awaiting a traffic assessment submittal by the applicant and review by the Montgomery County Highway Department. That information is current from the applicant. But Mr. Chairman, we will need to open the floor for public comment based on the timing of the request for deferral. So we will, I believe their applicant's agent is here to answer any questions. I do know that they're working on the traffic assessment. If you need some additional information, you do have the 2 slides of the area, the future land use designation map that shows the neighborhood. Is that neighborhood commercial? Yes. And then the future, the current zoning map of the area. There was a handful of zoning public comments that were received in this application that we'll definitely share at next month's meeting. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
All right, seeing no questions from the commissioners, I'm going to open this up for public hearing. CZ 19-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Larry Riccone, 308 South 2nd Street. We're just asking for the deferral as well as staff recommendation, and the traffic study's underway. We thought it would be completed. It's not completed yet. And we'll address the merits of the case at the next hearing.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of CZ 19-2025? Would anyone like to speak against CZ 19-2025? Come on up.
First of all, thank you. And my name is John Williams. I live in 152 Edmonds Way in Sheffield Woods, the neighborhood that's right across the street. And I'm like most people, probably in Montgomery County, have very little input or experience with the Planning Commission. The letters went out on this to just one street in our neighborhood about 2 weeks ago, and the assumption was made that everybody in the neighborhood got one, but they didn't. There was just a few people that got it. So we started trying to go through this, trying to think about what impact putting a commercial business down on 41A and putting the apartments and multi-use or multifamily across the street from us. Obviously, the biggest one that we have right now is traffic, and I think we're all aware of that. And we have, within a half a mile, we have 3 subdivisions and an elementary school and the fire department there. And I don't know if you all have ever been out there during the school traffic. It's very, very difficult, and adding additional houses until the infrastructure is improved will be difficult. I just ask that look forward to this traffic study, and I just hope that it's rigorous and it is done over a period of days, particularly when school is in session there. And I'll tell you one other thing too. I didn't realize that we could come in here and make comments today at this meeting, because the letter that they got made it seem like that the only time that we could make comments was at the meeting on Monday night. So there was a lot of confusion, and we had a lot of people say, well, I'd like to go, but we can't make any comments. So that's why I'm here by myself today. But there's a lot of angst in the neighborhood about this, because just not only the additional number of people in the neighborhood, but we've seen an incredible amount of infrastructure change along Madison. You know, I've lived out there for 16 years. If you remember, there used to be a stop sign down there, and it was all 2-lane. And once it was all, changed, there was no additional infrastructure update on McAdoo Creek. So just look forward to next month's meeting, I suppose, and we will cover this again, but I'll try to bring a few more people out with me next time. But I appreciate your time, and that's all I have, pending your questions.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak against CZ 19-2025? Mr. Riccone, would you like to rebut? Or save it for next? Okay. All right, commissioners, back out of public hearing, back into regular session.
Motion for 30-day deferral.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for deferral and a properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, deferred for 30 days.
Mr. Williams, just to try to answer part of your question, the Regional Planning Commission notification policy sends a letter to anyone within 100 feet of the boundary to the record of owner at the tax assessor of properties. So that'll give you some kind of idea of where those goes. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to any of our staff members and ask for me directly. I'll try to answer any questions if you want to stay abreast of the information.
Just learn something new every day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Commissioners, CZ 21-2025 is the agent or application of Paul Collins with the Agent Lead Group. This is for an application for a tract of land on the western frontage of Dodsonville Road, approximately 3,750 feet south of the Dover Road and Dodsonville Road intersection. It's currently a tract with mature forest and moderate varying slope. Applicant's statement for the proposed use is for a single-family development that would align with the zoning designation that they're asking for, which is agricultural district currently, proposed to go to R1 single-family residential district. It would be an extension of the existing R1 in the area. It is in the UGB, which is the urban growth boundary of the growth plan, and the Woodlawn-Dodsonville planning area. Similar application, Ag to R1, came in 2022. If some of you may remember, that was withdrawn by the applicant. This is Gas and Water did choose to comment. It's not in their service area, but it is not uncommon for the Gas and Water Department to provide sewer. Currently, there's no gravity sewer in the area. Traffic assessment was submitted by the Montgomery County Highway Department. They had no further comment after review of that. Applicant's estimate, and that came from, I believe the traffic assessment was for 158 lots historically. R1 designation for that amount of acreage would equate to 169 lots. Again, Woodlawn, Dodsonville planning area. Future land use designation map indicates this property should be suburban neighborhood. Staff's recommendation is for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The adopted future land use opinion map designates its tract as a suburban neighborhood. The proposed R1 single-family residential district aligns with the suburban neighborhood designation and appears to represent a logical and appropriately paced extension of residential growth. The R1 single-family residential district is in character with the development pattern for the unincorporated portion of the Woodlawn-Dodsonville planning area. Special attention will be required at the planning and development stage to ensure proper connections to Dodsonville Road. That will be coordinated with an approval of the Montgomery County Highway Department. Next to 3 slides is the aerial overview. Is the first two future land use designation map for is the next one, and the current zoning designation map is located there. We did have a few questions about this, but no one chose to leave formal comment. If you have any questions for my staff, or for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer that for you.
All right, seeing no questions, we'll open up public hearing on CZ 21-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Hello, my name is Gary Kihara, local developer. We're requesting to rezone for affordable housing with sidewalks. I've got some information if anybody wants any supporting documentation. And as Mr. Spainhoward said, it's within the growth plan, so we're asking for approval. Any questions?
Question? Yeah,
I'll pass them around if you don't mind.
There may be some extras in here. As stated, it is within the growth plan. The sewer is not available at the property, but we do have sewer right up the road that we can pump to, so that is available, and the water will be available by the time we get ready to install that. The traffic study came back with no recommended improvements. I know there's been some flood issues or concerns. We've got plenty of open space and spots for retention. The school, we've got school capacity by the time this is open. We've got a timeline that shows the total development and when all that stuff will be completed. So we're looking at, the first house being completed in October of '27. So all that stuff will be good to go. Any
Okay.
questions?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of CZ 21-2025? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against CZ 21-2025? Exiting public hearing, commissioners?
Motion for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted parcel Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
No, I'm sorry, I'm sending.
You're good. CZ 21-2025 passes.
All right, commissioners, that concludes the zoning staff report. That takes us to our site reviews. We did have one pulled from the consent agenda. That was SR 66-2025. I'm going to defer to Mr. Parker. I would suggest we start there just to keep them in numerical order.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll just speak up.
Now we got it. Okay. The first site review that was removed from the consent agenda is case number SR 66-2025. The applicant is Bill Ballou. The name of the site is Autumnwood East Apartments. The property is it's located, it's a portion of tract of land south of Tiny Town Road and west of Jockey Drive. Proposed access from Tiny Town approximately 570 feet west of Prophet Drive. It's approximately 24.75 acres, 396 units. This is zoned R4 and it's within the city. If you want to go to page 12 in your site review packet, you will see the aerial overview of the site. The following page is a proposed master concept plan provided by the engineer. The next few pages include the site review and the proposed landscape plan. Going back to the staff report, to page 10 of the staff report, you'll see the staff recommendation for approval that's subject to the 4 conditions listed. I can read those real quick for the record. Approval of all utility plans by the city engineer's office and utility district official. Approval of all grading, drainage, and water quality plans by the city street department to include road access and sidewalk improvements as required. Electrical plan approved by CDE Lightband. And finally, number 4, final plat approval of right-of-way of Horseshoe Cave Road. The next section indicates the department comments, and we will need a public hearing. Thank you, commissioners. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer those.
All right, we'll open up public hearing on SR 66, 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Good afternoon, Cal Burchett, McKay Burchett and Company, 1545 Madison Street. As some of y'all know, we met with you all and the staff after the meeting with y'all and worked through this site. Our client, agreed to a few changes, and we feel like we met all the staff recommendations. We meet the zoning ordinance, and we're good with the conditions, and would hope y'all vote for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Y'all did do a thorough meeting after.
Yes, sir. We met with the staff, our client, and, kind of redlined some plans and went back and forth, and I believe we met everything they had.
Yeah, I will add, thank you for doing that. I know deferrals are not easy, especially when you're dealing with timelines, and we appreciate the opportunity and working with you to get those items addressed, concerns. So,
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 66, 2025? Would anyone like to speak against SR 66, 2025?
That's me. I'm Lenore Erickson. I live at 1719 Cabana Drive. And my concern, well, there were two concerns I had, but I think one of them was addressed, though it's not listed here. And that was that there's no way this 396 families should be exiting this development onto Tiny Town Road. It would be between the hospital and the bank, and it would be a blind intersection and cause numerous accidents. But it's my understanding when I looked at the new plan that access was changed to Horseshoe Cave Road. Is that correct? Yeah, okay, so then that's fine, because that will be a controlled intersection. My other concern was that the development is basically at 514 feet, and it is next to the old development in the Downs development that was built way before 2010. And it's Ali Sheba Drive, and all those houses run next to this development, and I don't see any catch basins or anything drawn on this map that would catch water from running from this impervious development, because it's solid, 11 buildings and parking, and straight down the hill to Ali Sheba Drive. And I would like to see some effort made to do something about the drainage. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see if we can't get the engineer up here to answer your concern. Come on up.
Yes, so we've started on some drainage plans. The commercial property, or the property up in the front along the roadway, will drain toward the road. The rest, pretty much all the apartments, will drain to a sinkhole just to the south of the property. We're enhancing that sinkhole. It's like probably gonna be 4 acres or so of retention. So all the water from this development will be retained there. The rest of it drains to these planned sinkholes on this master plan that those 2 sinkholes take probably 250 acres of water from the rest of the site, but a small portion of this will go to that basin to the southeast. I can point that out, or
Saying in this area?
yes, yeah, that's it. And like I said, all of our water will go there, not planning on sending any off-site at all.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sorry, I think I got ahead of myself here as well. Is there anyone else that would like to speak against? I cut that short. I thought there was only one, but just want to make sure. Okay. We're going to exit public hearing now, commissioners.
Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval, properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, SR 66-2025 passes.
Hold on 1 second, Brad. To add clarity to the way the agenda works with the new updates, it's clear why SR 66 was pulled from the agenda for someone to speak. The rest of the applications may have someone here to speak, or if not, there will be public comments provided in writing that you will have the opportunity to review before consideration. So, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Spanhoward. The next case that was removed from the consent agenda is case number SR 68. Again, applicant is Bill Mace. The name of the site is Autumnwood West Apartments. It's proposed multifamily. It's located approximately 840 feet south of Tiny Town Road, connecting to Tower Drive via Caroline Drive. 15.32 plus or minus acres. 245 units are proposed. The property is zoned R4 and within the city. If you want to go to page 25, you'll see the aerial overview of the site. You can see this is on the western side of the same parcel. The very next page is that same master concept plan that we just looked at, followed by the proposed site plan, and then the following next few pages are regarding the landscape plan. The following page after that is an email that we received with some information, and if there's any questions for the staff, I'll be happy to try and answer those. The staff recommendation, again, is for approval, subject to the 4 conditions listed. Approval of all utility plans by the city engineer's office and utility district official. Approval of all grading, drainage, and water quality plans by the city street department to include road and sidewalk improvements as required. CDE light ban. Owned utility lines must be relocated by CDE light ban per CDE light ban's design at full cost of developer. Any easements required by CDE light ban for the design must be shown. Developer is responsible for clearing the new route according to CDE light ban requirement. The cost for relocation must be paid in full before site plan approval, or the proposed CDE easement along the western side of the property would need to be 30 feet wide and entered on the existing overhead power line. And finally, approved and recorded final plat for right-of-way dedication. The next section does show the department comments, and we will need a public hearing. Thank you, commissioners.
All right, I'm going to open up public hearing on SR 68-2025. Anyone like to speak in favor?
Good late afternoon. Cal McKay, McKay Burchett and Company, 1545 Madison Street. This is on the same parent track as the previous case. We've gone over and beyond meeting the zoning ordinance, and not sure what the objection is or if anybody's here, but I would like to have the right to respond.
We'll
If you have
do
any
it.
questions.
All right, no questions. Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 68-2025? In favor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wrote an email and about my concerns about this development concerning the CDE, the TVA easement, and about the drainage. And when I looked at the plans, they've both been answered, and I want to thank you all for taking care of that and reading my email and taking care of those problems.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm glad that it's going to go in there, frankly, because that whole farm needs to be developed.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 68-2025? All right. Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against SR 68-2025? All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
I make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? SR 68-2025 passes.
Chairman, I'd like to say something really quick.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I would like to thank the staff of the regional planning for being consistent and working through this. I think that's why we have such a good outcome right now, and thank you so much for keeping that work going.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next case is case SR 76, 2025. The applicant is Rick Rita Homes. The name of the site is Rick Rita Homes LLC Phase 3. That is, the townhome is the proposed use, located off of Fort Campbell Boulevard on Idlewild Street adjacent to Chestnut Drive. 8 units are proposed. The property is zoned C2, and that is located within the city. Page 43, you'll find the aerial overview of the site. The following page 44 is the site review and the landscape plan. You can see on the very top right side of the page is where the proposed phasing is. And finally, on page 45, you'll see an emailed public comment. The staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the 3 conditions listed. That's approval of all utility plans by the city engineer's office and utility district official, approval of all grading, drainage, and water quality plans by the city street department to include road access and sidewalk improvements as required. And finally, electrical plan approved by CDE Lightband. The next section does list the department comments, and we will need a public hearing, commissioners. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer those.
Any questions for staff? Okay. We'll open up public hearing on SR 76, 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Good afternoon, Britt Little, Weekly Brothers Engineering. I believe the plan before you meets the design standards. I'm not sure what comments have been made, but we'd be glad to try to address those now if you have them. Any comments or questions, or I'd like to have the opportunity to rebut.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 76, 2025? Would anyone like to speak against SR 76, 2025? All right, we're going to exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we got a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? SR 76, 2025 passes.
Okay, commissioners, case number SR 79, 2025. The applicant is ISI Athletics, and that is also the name of the site. The proposed use is a athletic training facility. The property is located on a portion of a parcel of land on the northern frontage of Highway 41A South, approximately 770 feet plus or minus feet east of the Sango Drive, McAdoo Creek, and Highway 41A South intersection. It's approximately 11.22 acres. Property is zoned C5. It is located within the urban growth boundary. If you'll go to page 75 of your packet, you'll see the aerial overview of the site. The following page is the proposed site plan, followed by the landscape plan. I will point out that there is a phasing plan on here. Ball field 1, and that's the lower right-hand ball field, is located in the phase 1, but I do believe the building on the northeastern side is considered in phase 2, as well as some of the parking. We did receive a public comment that's on the very following page. Going back up to page 73, the recommendation from the staff is for approval, subject to the 4 conditions listed. That's approval of a grading permit by the Montgomery County Building and Codes, approval of all utility plans by the Chief Utility District official, Highway Department approval of all required access improvements, and finally, County Fire Service approval of all proposed fire suppression systems. Easy for me to say. The next section is the department comments. And if there's any questions for the staff, I'll be happy to try and answer those. Otherwise, we will need a public hearing. Thank you.
Any questions, commissioners? Seeing none, we're going to open up the public hearing for SR 79, 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Houston Smith, TTL, 2971 International Boulevard. I believe this site plan meets all the codes, all the parking requirements. We had a little bit of back and forth with building codes about the parking, got that figured out, and both phases meet the parking requirements. Buffers are provided for the landscape. Appreciate the ability to respond to any comments that are presented, but I've also got the owners here to answer any questions specific to the development if there are any of those.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 79, 2025?
Good afternoon, Commission. My name's Kevin Lee, 262 Harrogate, representing ISI. For this, I just want to introduce the partnership. It's 3 local families. So I've got the Sharp family, retired Marine and a business owner. I've got the Mills family, former professional baseball player and educator. And then I've got the Lee family, myself, active duty military, former professional baseball player, and my wife, who's a pharmacist in the community. We're embedded in this community. We're embedded in youth sports. This isn't an outside business coming in and trying to create something that's unnecessary in the community. As we've been a part of this community, us for 13 years and these families lifelong, this has become an incredible desire within the youth sports spectrum. And so what we think we're able to do is provide something that is lacking. And as we look at the community and the incredible growth, especially over the last 13 years of our experience, the youth facilities become saturated. So we're providing something for the competitive player, but for the rec player that also wants to get better. We will be the ones doing lessons. We'll be the one engaged in the facility. We'll be the ones working with the neighborhood to make sure that everything coalesces and makes this a better place to be. And it's focused on the youth. We want to enhance the community. We're not trying to detract from anything that's going on. We know we'll be incredible neighbors as we go through this process of developing this land into a youth facility for sports. We also want to retain talent. For the competitive athlete, we want to stop seeing them go to Nashville and go out of town. Let's keep them here. Let's allow them to develop here, and let's have them come back just like the Alec Mills has, where he has grown up here, had the opportunity to play professionally and come. The other part, too, I think it's important to note that this is partnered with a competitive organization that I established as a 501c3. So that organization is focused on enhancing the community, getting our boys involved early with the veterans' homes, with food drives. So that also works and meshes with this. We've also made a stand to make sure that all military kids PCSing in have an opportunity to at least try out, compete, and have opportunities here, which is very challenging with families that move a lot. I think that this does so much for the community, and I wanted you to know who we were coming in, and then we're grateful to answer any questions as we go forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of SR 79, 2025? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against SR 79, 2025? Yes, sir, come on up.
I'm John Williams, 152 Edmonds Way. I'm across the street in the neighborhood from this new site. Former military and been in the neighborhood for a long time. Curious, are there going to be lights associated with these ball fields? And what can the neighborhood expect from the lights from those?
You got anything on that? We don't know.
I know what I've been told and what we have in our report. I would defer to the.
Is that your only question, sir? Because we'll get them back up here to rebut. We'll get somebody up here to discuss that with you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that was the biggest thing as far as the light pollution, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Would anyone else like to speak against SR 79, 2025? All right. We have an opportunity for rebuttal, Mr. Lee or previous speaker. All right.
All right. In response, yes, there will be lights. Both baseball fields will ultimately be lit. What our plan is to kind of mirror what the Little Leagues do that are embedded in our community. We'll be done around 9:30 on Sunday through Thursday nights, and then Friday and Saturday as late as 10 p.m. We will make sure that the lights we get are ultimately inward facing. Will there be light pollution up? Absolutely. But what we do know is that when you look at the growth plan and the growth in the Clarksville-Montgomery area, this will not be a 24-hour operation of lighting. It'll also be less light pollution throughout the late evening compared to any type of apartment complex or other things that would be C5 zoning. So we think we're going to mitigate that by mirroring what is already embedded throughout the community, but there will be lights on the 2 ball fields.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to exit public hearing now. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion for approval, as this community needs a facility like this for the children so that they don't have to go to Nashville as they continue to do.
All right, we have a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Ms. Streetman?
I'd like to note an abstention on this one.
Okay.
And then, Mr. Chairman, that's what she was mentioning to me earlier about the agenda, to make
I
sure that
just wanted to be sure.
she had not voted on a case, so.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to clarify it was there. And to go a step further, thank you for answering the question about lighting. There is a required note that goes on the site plan that says all site lighting shall be directed inward with shielded hoods and no light shall spill on adjacent properties. That is a routine note that goes with commercial developments, so.
Okay. Thank you all. All right, so we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, SR 79-2025 passes.
All right, speaking of light, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So under other business, you have the profit and loss statement. We would need a motion and second for approval. If there are questions, I will need it deferred till next month, as Mr. Ronnie Gray is not at today's meeting. So, but if you're okay with it, we're ready to move forward.
Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second on the profit and loss. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, profit, any opposed? All right, passes. Next.
All right, and as Mr. Sharp I believe he's gone, but he referenced something earlier about the historic zoning and downtown district rewrite. That is nearing its completion. It's near final draft. But to actually get it on the floor to vote, we would need you guys to make a motion and bring it forward to initiate the historic zoning, downtown design district code updates for city zoning ordinance and the county zoning resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes.
And then in accordance with state law, for any items not on the agenda, if anyone would like to make a public comment, they're welcome to do so now.
Anybody want to come up for 3 minutes? Okay. No one present? Commissioners?
Move for adjourn.
Second.
There we go. We are adjourned.